Hello, welcome to Box to Board, and we have Robert from Dragon Turtle Games with us today, and I believe you have a Kickstarter.
Yes, we have a brand new Kickstarter, Terminal Overdrive, new
Wow.
source book by Games Workshop author Ben Counter, who's known for his Horus Heresy trilogy. I think that's what they're called, although I'm sure he's going to correct me after watching this.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're also doing a reprint of the core rulebook because we completely sold out.
Wow.
So we're taking the opportunity to upgrade it, add 10 pages or so of new content,
Yeah,
do some formatting changes, fixes, basically, we've sold 5,000 copies in the past 18 months, and
yeah,
so we've had a lot of feedback on what works and what needs a slight tweak, and
yeah,
so we're going to be doing that just to improve the game.
yeah.
Anyone who's already got the game as a PDF will get an updated PDF for free.
Brilliant.
And anyone who has a physical copy, or anyone at all actually, can go on our website and will be able to download an errata and print that off, and that will contain all the changes, in there. So no one's going to be missing out.
Yeah,
If you've got the old book, that's great, fantastic. Thank you for supporting. You're going to get the free upgrade on PDF, and you're going to get the errata, which we wouldn't have been able to do without this campaign.
that's brilliant. And so, what else is coming in with it? Because I know there's some other bits to it as well.
Yeah, well, we unlocked a couple of stretch goals, which is great. We've unlocked all of our stretch goals actually now, as of
Wow.
yesterday, which
That's
was
for 2 weeks to go.
amazing. Yeah, we're desperately brainstorming to try and come up with some new stretch goals that we can do, that we can afford to do, and that we can do on time.
Yeah,
You have to do a lot of planning for these things, otherwise you end up losing a lot of money and ultimately bankrupting a company if you're
yeah,
not careful with
yeah,
stretch goals. So, we've got the Chow's Request, which is a adventure, two-part adventure found in the back of the core rulebook,
yeah.
which everyone gets, but we've expanded that to 6 parts and are now doing
That's good.
a print version of that,
Yeah,
which you get the PDF version along with the new Kickstarter campaign. The print version is going to be £10, it's going to be 60 pages long, and it really expands the mission and adds an ending. It's it's great. I played it loads.
yeah,
No one else has except our
yeah,
players and
yeah.
our other play testers, but people really love it, and we've got art for that already. It looks great. It looks really great. We also unlocked the KHMA catalog,
Wow.
which is it's a shopping catalog, in-universe shopping catalog of new weapons, items, augmentations offered by Khan Maezawa,
Yeah,
one of the mega corporations. So that's really fun. That's in PDF only at the moment as our stretch goals, because again, it's going to cost a
yeah,
fortune to print, and we wouldn't be able to afford to
yeah,
do it at
yeah,
this level of backers. So along with Berlin Mega City 2185, which is another city book similar to our city source books, again written by Darren Pierce, who wrote London, which was very, very well received.
yeah,
We've also got an actual German consultant on that to make sure we get things right. We don't want to
yeah.
write in Germany without speaking to any Germans,
Yeah, yeah, that would be bad.
That's also only in PDF at the moment. But
Yeah,
once we unlock 2185 backers, we're going to be offering physical versions of the catalog and Berlin, which are just really cool.
yeah,
They're going to be really high quality, both around the same length as Chow's Request, around 60 pages, soft covers. They're going to be great. If you've got an Instinct soft cover, it's the same prints as we're using of them, around the same length.
yeah,
But we can't afford to do that unless we know that we have a certain amount of backers
yeah.
that are going to buy it.
It's a funny one with Kickstarter because, like you said, you can kind of get carried away and carry your company away with it if you're not
Yeah,
careful.
we really got carried away on the last one, and we ended up spending more in production of stretch goals and getting those made and finished and sent out than we did on the core rulebook.
Right.
But of course, you see all this money come in. You see £75,000, which was our latest one. You think, hey, that's we
Yeah,
needed 15 to print the books, and now we've made 75. So we've got
yeah,
we've got 60,000 left over. That's not how it works,
no.
because obviously the 75 is people backing for the books. So
Yeah.
the more we sell, although we make more money, we have to spend that money on printing and shipping those books to backers. So really, we have to look at how much profit we make from each pledge, and work out how much we can afford to spend on stretch goals, while also paying our staff and paying for our office, and making sure we don't go bankrupt, because we want to stay around. I mean, you know, bankruptcy wouldn't affect me too much. I could just start another company, but we want to stick around and keep making Carbon 2185 products. And we can't do that if we run out of money. You know, and we really want to do that because people love Carbon 2185. I love Carbon 2185. So do the other members of staff here. And it's just a really fun game, and we want to support it as long as people are buying it. And we don't want to stop supporting it because we have not done the maths properly.
It's a challenge, and you can see so many companies where they kind of get it wrong, and it just creates problems.
Well, we got it wrong last time. We raised 143,000, and we had to do almost 300 pages, or I think over 300 pages of stretch rewards on a campaign for a 300-page core rulebook.
That's a lot.
It doubled.
But it's such. I mean, it's such a cool game. And if you're listening, you haven't played it, get your hands on it. It really is.
We did an interview talking about it more in depth. So if you don't know what it is, check out the old interview.
It's so. I mean, it's that weird thing that why has nobody done this before, and then, you know why, and then you suddenly go, this is just smart. This is just a really accessible way of introducing cyberpunk to people.
I mean, that was the whole idea. You know, no one had done it the way we wanted to do it, and that really shocked me. Because it's such a cool genre. I think people are intimidated by Cyberpunk 2020 and Shadowrun. They're thinking we're not gonna sell anything because there are these two titans. That's not true. It wasn't true for us. And there's room for more Cyberpunk games in the tabletop industry. Because we do some cool stuff, we do our own thing. Cyberpunk does their own thing, Shadowrun does their own thing. We don't draw inspiration from either of those games. In fact, we'd only taken a glance at each one to make sure we weren't, you know, there was no crossover. We weren't familiar with them. But so we actively try to avoid doing stuff that they had done. Because, you know, if you want to play games like that, play them. You know. But there's still a lot of room, stuff we haven't done, stuff they haven't done, for someone else to come in and do their own thing. And I think it's really exciting. And I'm just kind of waiting for the next big Cyberpunk game to pop up.
But the thing I loved about this is that because of using open license as a sort of baseline of rules and adapting that to the world, it meant that you've got the complexity, but you've got the familiarity, so it doesn't feel as complex. Because the other two games you mentioned, they're great, but you have to work at them quite hard.
We wanted something that was really simple, really streamlined, and really easy, and I think we got that. One thing, you know, people say, "Oh, I don't want to play it. It's D20. It's 5e based." It doesn't feel like a 5e game at all when you're playing it. It doesn't at all. You know, I've played I've played, you know, Pathfinder. It feels like a D20 game. I've played Starfinder. It feels like a D20 game. Carbon doesn't actually feel like a D20 game at all.
It's odd. I mean, it is odd, and I think the world that's created there helps because it's so well fleshed out. It kind of doesn't feel like a rip-off of something else. It feels like this is its own beast. And it's very, and yet it's very true to the whole genre. So
we made a lot of huge changes to the D20 system, changes, but they're all in line with the D20 design philosophy, if that makes sense. And our own design philosophy, which was to keep things really streamlined, simple, and fast-paced, and easy to learn. So by keeping that in mind, we were able to get a system that feels coherent. But also familiar. And it feels unique. Like I said, I don't think it feels like a D20 game. at all.
What I liked about it, whenever I've run it as a GM, is that players know what to do. Even you don't. A lot of new, whenever you introduce a new system, a lot of the time you feel as if, right, I've got to teach them this bit. No, there's this little bit over here, and there are bits, there are nuances to it, but it's kind of like familiar enough that they feel they can take risks. They feel they can try things out, and that's kind. I think that's the sweet spot you really hit with that game, to be honest.
Yeah, thank you. That was what we were going for. We also really wanted a game that was intuitive.
Yeah.
So that even I've played it with many people who've never played tabletop games before, and they get a really good grasp of the game by the end of the first session.
Yeah.
They know how to play it, and once you know the basics, you can kind of figure out how the other systems in the game might work and kind of guess based on what you learn from the basics.
Yeah, and you've got enough that you've got, I could do something like this, and then the GM helps a bit sometimes.
Yeah.
But there's so many games that you find, I don't know if we can do that. I don't want to look stupid. I'm not going to say anything. You know, and that's the reality. So it's really good. In terms of how long's the Kickstarter got to run? Is it 2 weeks? Is that?
It's got 2 weeks left today. It's the 30th today. It finishes on the 13th.
Right, cool. Yeah.
Which is a day before Cyberpunk Red is scheduled to come out.
Right. Yeah.
As a PDF. But I don't know if that's going to be delayed now because Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed. But I hope Cyberpunk Red comes out on the 14th because I want to play it.
Yeah,
I want to check it out. You know.
It looks good.
I want to see what they've done.
There's a lot. I mean, in terms of just while we're here, random thing. What things other than your own game at the minute excite you? What are the things that you're sitting going? Actually, I'm quite looking forward to that.
I'm looking in terms of tabletop gaming. I'm looking forward to Cyberpunk Red because I haven't played Cyberpunk 2020.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see, how modern it feels.
Yeah.
Because there's this concern with because the old game is so old now.
Yeah. Yeah.
The last edition. There's this concern that the new edition is still going to feel like an old game.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see if it does and how that plays. There's also another Kickstarter at the moment called Thirsty Sword Lesbians, which looks really great.
Wow.
Evil Hat Productions. You should check that out. It's a kind of cooperative, narrative-based, powered by the apocalypse science fiction game, and it looks really fun. And you don't have to be a lesbian to play it, although I think it helps. But,
it's one of those mad titles, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks good. But I'm looking forward to that. But aside from that, I've just been playing. It's hard to play because of COVID.
Yeah.
But I've been playing a lot of 5th edition and a lot of Carbon.
No, that surprises me. No, it's.
We also, I'm working on a new game system, a new campaign setting for 5th edition for a different company, Studio Circa, and also we're working at Dragon's Den Games, working on Solarpunk, which is our next game system, which is kind of the opposite of Carbon 2185, a utopian future. That's kind of summertime next year. That'll be on Kickstarter.
That sounds interesting because again, it's that sounds very odd, and it sounds like how can you do an RPG in utopia, and then actually I suppose there's that, is it a utopia? Kind of.
Well, it's a utopia for most people.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
People are still people, and people are inherently evil.
Yeah. We've all got a twist.
I think there's still bad guys, even in a perfect world.
Yeah.
There are still bad people.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm reading a book at the minute that's kind of got that aspect where people have got nanobots that control most things, but not everything. And I think there is that element of people have really creative ways to be nasty.
I mean, we all know people who are just horrible people and greedy people for no reason.
Yeah.
I think it's just how some people are.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna say it's been lovely chatting to you. I know you're exceptionally busy at the minute.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for your time. And you know, I can see this being another one of those ones where you're going, okay, we really don't want to bankrupt the company, but we've got all these pledges coming in. It's good troubles to have.
Yeah, it is a brilliant problem to have. It's not one I ever anticipated having 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's the strange times that we live in. Is
our previous we did Kickstarter for 2 years before we did Carbon, and each project made between £3,000 and £7,000, and then we do that. On the first 53 minutes of this campaign, we did £15,000.
Oh, that's just insane.
So it's just, it's hard to keep up.
Yeah, and it's one of those things you just think, actually, it must be quite intoxicating at the time, and you have to keep your feet in the ground and go, actually, we need to get this right. And well done for doing that, to be honest.
Have to focus up.
Yeah. But we will, I'm looking forward to this coming out, and you shall, I expect, I know it's going to be good. I know it's going to be good, and I know that it'll be well received, because it's one of those things you just think, it's such a good idea and it works so well. So, really all the best to you guys again. And
thank you. Thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, thank you for your time, mate. And be safe and be well, as we say in these times at the minute. And
I started saying, stay safe and stay cyberpunk.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, after this is all done, you can do it. I've got a great idea for an RPG, a post-apocalyptic world set after a global pandemic. Now, nobody would believe that.
Or we could do a zombie apocalypse where no one's following the guidelines and they're just getting themselves eaten.
Nobody would do that. Nobody would do that. It's just,
no one's going to put themselves and their family and friends at risk, surely.
No, they would never do such a thing. Never. Anyway, I better go before we get too controversial, mate.
All right.
Right. Nice chatting, mate.
Thanks a lot.